Welcome, everyone. It is 5:15 on Monday, July 26th of 2021, and this Carroll City Council meeting will now commence. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please note everyone is in attendance. And our next item is the introduction of oath and oath of officer for Carroll, James Heller.
Thank you, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Step up here.
James.
While you're walking down, Mayor, I'll introduce James here. This is James Heller. James was born in Carroll and joined the Air Force after that. Was retired in the military. He most recently has worked for the El Paso County Sheriff's Department in Colorado Springs, Colorado as a deputy. And he's going to come and start his career here in Carroll. His father and his grandfather were both Carroll police officers quite a few years back. So got a legacy hire here.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
We'll administer the police officer oath. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, James Heller,
I, James Heller,
solemnly swear that I will support
the
Constitution of the United States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will enforce the laws
and that I will enforce the laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
the State of Iowa,
the State of Iowa,
and the City of Carroll,
and the City of Carroll,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all the duties
discharge all the duties
of a peace officer
of a peace officer
of the City of Carroll,
of the City of Carroll,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now
Or hereafter.
or hereafter as required by law.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. Welcome to the police department. Appreciate it. She'll have you sign. Yeah, she'll have you sign one of those.
All right.
Do you want to do it tomorrow in the office?
It's up to you if you want
Because
to
we
sign
got
it.
two witnesses out there.
Yeah.
She's got the actual one.
All right.
I didn't want to mess that one up, so I made a copy.
Very good. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks, James.
You bet.
You bet. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. And it's approval of minutes of the July 12th meeting, approval of bills and claims. Under licenses and permits, we have the renewal of a Class C liquor license with outdoor service, Hourglass. And then the Community Development Block Grant, Owner Occupied Housing Rehabilitation Grant, Subrecipient Agreement Amendment Number 1. Are there any questions with regards to the consent agenda?
I would move to approve the consent agenda.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Seaman? Yes. Bates? Yes. Dirks?
Yes.
Fleshman?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. The next item is oral requests and communications from the audience for items not on the agenda. And if there's anybody that is online, you'll have to unmute your mic and microphone and please speak now. With that, seeing none. The next item is ordinances. And the first one is the rezoning request, the north 72 feet of lot 1 and the north 72 feet of the east 10 feet of lot 2, block B, 7th Street addition to Carroll County, Iowa. This is the third reading. And Mike, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Hopefully you can hear me okay this evening.
Yes, sir.
This is the third reading of this zoning request from Alexa and Lucas Linhart to rezone the property at 711 Northwest Street. We have not received any comments since the last hearing. So with that, unless there are any comments, staff is recommending that the City Council consider approval of the request to rezone the north 72 feet of lot 1 and the north 72 feet of the east 10 feet of lot 2, block B, 7th Street addition to Carroll County, from B2 General Business District to RB1 Residential Business Transitional District. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the only question I had, is if you guys had heard anything more, because I hadn't seen anything. I don't know
No.
if anybody else had either. If there are no questions, I'll need a motion to let the third and final reading to rezone the north 72 feet of lot 1 and the north 72 feet of the east 10 feet of lot 2, block B, 7th Street addition to Carroll County, Iowa, from B2 General Business District to RB1 Residential Business Transitional District.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Seaman,
Yes.
Base,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Cots,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Fleshner.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Motion to adopt the ordinance?
Second.
There's a motion and a second for adopting the ordinance as written. Any other questions? If not, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Cots,
Yes.
Base, yes, Seaman. Yes. Ordinance is adopted.
Thank you. The next item is the sanitary sewer service charges, the third reading. And Mike, are you doing this one then also?
Yes, sir. Mayor, this is the third and final reading of the sanitary sewer service charge ordinance. This was reviewed at your last meeting. The staff has not received any comments since the last hearing, so our recommendation is the mayor and council consider approval and passage of the sanitary sewer services charge ordinance. With that, happy to answer any questions the council has.
Again, I hadn't heard anything on this one either, so. And this is the third one. We've been doing this in succession. This is looking good, at least get people noted. If there are no other questions, I'll look for a motion to approve the sanitary sewer service charge ordinance, the third reading.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other discussions. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Seaman, Haley,
Yes.
Cots,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Base. Yes. Motion is approved.
And I'll need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second. Carroll.
If there's no other discussion, the motion and second, we'll go ahead and vote to adopt the ordinance.
Cots,
Yes.
Seaman. Yes. Dirks,
Yes.
Haley.
Yes.
Base. Yes. Fleshner.
Yes.
Ordinance is adopted.
Thank you. The next item is under resolutions, and the first resolution is the $3.6 million obligation refunding capital loan notes, Series 2021A. And Laura, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Back in November of 2018, the city issued some debt to cover the project costs to fund the Library City Hall project, as well as improvements to the existing parks and sidewalk and trail construction in a total amount of a little over $4 million. The city at the time worked with 5 local banks for that debt issuance. And we do appreciate all the work that the local banks have done for all our community projects, especially this one. With this being outstanding for almost 3 years, and there's been quite a change in the market in the interest rates, and the rates have dropped quite drastically since 2018. We have worked with PFM to find out what the rates are doing and what kind of a savings could be if we refunded or refinanced this debt issuance. So Suzanne Gerlach has run some analysis, and by refunding the debt issuance that was originally issued at 3.35%, it's anticipated the range could be as low as 1.23% to possibly 1.63%. So we won't know for sure until we actually issue the debt of what that dollar amount will be. And that savings could range anywhere from just over $294,000 to maybe over $381,000. Once again, we won't know for sure until we actually get the interest rate quotes. So the first step in this whole refunding process is to set a public hearing to authorize a loan agreement and issue those new notes. And what the resolution before you tonight is to set that public hearing for our next council meeting on Monday, August 9th. I would also note, since I failed to put that in this memo, is in talking with Suzanne, the savings that have been projected right now is based upon issuing the new debt with the same repayment schedule timeline. So another about same amount of time to be repaid off as the old debt. The old debt was scheduled to be paid off in June of 2033, and that would be with this savings schedules as well. I reached out to her today and getting some information from her to find out if we would look at a slightly different repayment schedule, if there is room in our debt service levy, if we would want to try to cut off a year or two. Don't have that information yet. We'll review that when we get it, and then we have time to make that decision before we go out to bid, so to speak, on these interest rates, to make that determination if it makes sense to try to do that or not. But once again, we don't know that at this point in time right now. But there is definitely savings, even if we keep the same repayment schedule right now. But we know from discussions that we had at the budget meetings, there's projects that are coming up that council is looking at issuing debt to do some street work. And so we're gonna take that all into consideration as we decide what's the best recommendation to bring to council and how many number of years to repay this. So, but for tonight, we're looking for council to start this process by setting a public hearing for the next council meeting and then directing the city clerk to publish that notice in the paper as required by law.
It'd be interesting to see the numbers because the interest rate is so low for what, we got 12 more years?
About 11 and a half, yeah, yep.
And it'll be locked in for that period of time. Be tough to beat that.
When do they lock that in?
At the time that you issue.
The time that we issue the debt, okay.
Yep.
Are there any other questions for Laura?
You know, I'll definitely have long fit this one.
Oh, yeah, no.
They usually take to advance to the level where we would actually have this refinanced. Talking weeks or months?
You mean until when we actually issue
Yes.
it? Well, we'll lock in the interest rate. We're scheduled right now to take interest rate bids on Monday, September 13th. And then just walking through the rest of the process and all the paperwork, we'll actually get the debt proceeds. Right now, we're planning to close on that on Wednesday, October 14th. So it's about a month after that for all the paperwork, but we'll lock in the interest rates on this Monday, September 13th.
Thank you.
I think we've got to meet before that. I'm curious if the changes, because well, it depends on what the feds do.
To me, it was a substantial enough amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
Even if we keep
Good
the same
to go,
repayment schedule,
yeah.
there's ample savings there.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions for Laura? If not, I'll look for a motion to fix Monday, October 9th, 2021 as the date for the public hearing on the authorization of a loan agreement and the issuance of not to exceed $3.6 million general obligation refunding capital loan notes as directed by the city clerk.
So move.
Second. There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we're going to vote, please.
Bates?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Dirk?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you. The next item under resolutions is resolution to determine the necessity and fixing a date for a public hearing on the matter of the adoption of the proposed Carroll Urban Revitalization Plan. And Mike, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the council has been considering an expansion to the Carroll Urban Revitalization Area citywide in order to provide a tax abatement to all properties within the city for residential improvements. Based on direction from the city council, staff has completed the urban revitalization plan update. This was included in the council packet. Now, this draft plan would expire on July 1st of 2031 unless it is terminated earlier or extended by the council in the future. And as I've drafted, the proposed draft would provide a tax exemption to all residential properties in the city of Carroll, really for residential purposes. Now, there's three different qualifications in there, and I won't go through them all verbatim, but essentially, residential properties or multi-residential properties, additionally, residential properties that may not be classified as such under Iowa code would all be eligible. And so if they increase the value of the property by at least 10%, then they will receive a tax abatement on that increase of up to $75,000 of that increase, 100% for 5 years. This is the same exemption that we currently have within kind of the core area of the city of Carroll that was approved about 2 years ago. So this is now just expanding that citywide. Now there is a little bit of change if you look at the current urban revitalization. The options 1 and 2 have changed slightly. There's no change really in the mechanics of it. There was some legislative changes done by the Iowa legislature in the last legislative session that is going to end the multi-residential classification. Because of that change, we've had to redraft this language to really keep the intent of the apartment exemption to continue. To proceed with the adoption of this, the council will need to adopt a resolution determining the necessity for the urban revitalization plan and then fix a hearing date for the matter of the adoption of the said plan. And that was included in attachment F of the plan in the council packet. If that resolution is approved, then on August 6th, we will publish notice in the Carroll Times Herald and also mail notice to all of the property owners in the expanded urban revitalization. So the existing area, they would not receive a mail notice, but just the expanded area. Because the existing area obviously is in an urban revitalization area today. We will also publish a second notice of the public hearing then on September 3rd in the Carroll Times Herald. The council will then hold the public hearing on September 13th. And then if there is no petition filed requesting a second public hearing by October 13th, the council on October 25th then can proceed to adopt a resolution approving the plan that's included in attachment G of the plan. And then they can also consider an ordinance designated certain areas in urban revitalization area, and that's included in attachment J of the plan. So finally, it should be noted that while the public hearing notices for expanding area do require us to mail notice to property owners, future changes can occur by a simple resolution of the council without the formal public hearing process that we're going through now. So for example, in the future, the council could make changes where duration of the plan, which properties classifications are eligible for exemption or not, and that could include adding commercial properties in the future if the council would so deem. Additionally, the exemption schedule could be modified in the future, so there would be opportunities there. So unless there's any question this evening, at this point, the mayor and city council are requested to adopt a resolution to determine necessity for the urban revitalization plan and then fix a public hearing on this matter for September 13th. Unless there's any questions, be happy. That's our recommendation. Thank you.
Mike, I have one. This is Jerry.
Yes.
The plan we currently have, when does it expire? Is it going to expire the same date as this new plan, or will they coincide?
So the revised plan will replace the existing plan, and then we did take this opportunity to extend it so that it would be 10 years. So currently, the existing plan is set to expire on July 1st of 2029.
Okay,
So the new one goes to 2030.
and it's all inclusive. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, both options are going to be in that? Is that the way I understand that? Option 1 and option 2?
Correct.
Are in there? Okay.
Correct.
That's what I thought. Okay.
And the option 1 and option 2 is simply based on the type of property that if it's either single family or multifamily residential,
Right.
that would then determine what option you select.
Okay.
Mike Laverne here. Is there a state requirement that they can only last for 10 years?
No, it is simply the council making that decision. I know previously when we talked about setting up an urban revitalization area, the council elected to limit it to 10 years, but the council could make it perpetual, and then a future council action then would be what would end that perpetual urban revitalization area. So it's really a council decision.
But the council could terminate at any time between now and 2031 too. We could,
Correct.
that's okay.
And in the future, if it is something the council desires to continue, prior to the expiration, they would want to extend it to avoid having to go through kind of the public hearing and public noticing process. And the public hearing process isn't difficult. It's just more of all the noticing that has to be required. This is one of the few things we actually have to mail notice to every property owner. And when we mail a notice to a property that is not owner occupied, we have to send notice both to the owner of the property and the occupant of the property. So it's just a lot of noticing. I believe we have to send about 3,500 notices in the expansion unit. So it's more about avoiding that level of public hearing notice in the future.
Thus saving the cost of the mailed information as well.
Correct.
Are there any other questions for Mike? If not, I'll look for a motion to fix the date of the public hearing on the matter of the Carroll Urban Revitalization Plan per the memorandum.
That'd be September 13th for the public hearing, correct?
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Cox,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Fleischner,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Base.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. And our final thing is reports, and we have the purchase of a pipe inspection camera. And Mike, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the city accepted proposals for the purchase of a pipe inspection camera system for the wastewater division. And we received 3 proposals. One was from Elliott Equipment for subsite electronic equipment. One was from McQueen Equipment for a viral site. And one was from Municipal Pipe and Tool LLC for clues. The proposed purchase of the pipe inspection camera system is to replace the city's 2010 Aries television inspection system. Now, proposals as opposed to bids were requested due to the variety of proprietary features that each of these systems provide. Proposal requested does not conform to the city's purchasing policy, requiring sealed competitive bids for purchases exceeding $50,000. But again, really due to the proprietary nature of these systems, it was difficult, if not impossible, to get true competitive bids in this situation. So included in the council packet was comparison of the various features and a few of the various features for the proposed camera system. The proposed costs were also included for each of those systems. Now, funding in the amount of $70,000 was included in the re-estimated fiscal year 2021. Now, the budget for the camera system to purchase at that point. Funding was not expended during the fiscal year 2021. And so the funding has been returned to the sewage utility fund balance. Now, if the purchase is approved at this point, funding would be anticipated to come from an amended budget. And again, that would come out of the sewer utility fund. So unless there's any questions, staff would recommend that the mayor and council consider waiver of purchasing policy number 501 and approve the purchase of a viral site pipe inspection camera system from McQueen Equipment at their proposed price of $71,580. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council has this evening. Thank you.
Mike, this is Clay. If I understood right, this previous camera system lasted us about a decade. Is that correct?
Be correct, sir.
We could probably anticipate similar longevity out of this system?
That would be the expectation, if not longer.
Thank you.
Is there a trade-in value on the old one? Do you know? Mike?
I'm not aware of that. I guess I defer. I know Sean's there. I have not heard that from Randy. I don't know if you have any feedback on that, Sean.
Yes, I think there's a trade-in value of $13,000.
So are we trading it to the company, or are we just going to sell it on our own?
No, we'll trade it to McQueen Equipment.
Well, okay.
Sean, go ahead, please.
How vital are these things to you?
Oh, they're very important. When winter comes around, so we jet during the summer to get everything clean. Then we go in the fall and winter time to inspect. And then when we inspect, we're looking for defects in pipe that could possibly cause a collapse or a backup or root curtains that we can take care of in the spring. So we record all this data and pretty much go on our maintenance program off of that. And then with damaged pipe, with the camera inspection, we can go in, we try to fix 2 to 3 bad spots a year. And with that inspection, we can go in and pinpoint exactly where they are. So if we're digging 10 feet down, we know exactly where that break is. So we're not opening up a space that's 20, 30 feet wide by trying to guess on where it's at.
So this is a large expense, and you use that new, what do you call it, machine that would.
Oh, our jetback machine?
Jetback, so you're using that. Other communities can't afford that, I would imagine.
Correct.
So are we helping out other communities with this system too?
We've been actually gone over and helped Glidden out with their sanitary sewer. They have a backup. Sometimes they'll call. We are going to go to Litterdale and suck out a wet well for their lagoon system. So we do help people out. We've helped out Denison before they got their camera system when I first started. We went over and they had a collapse in their roadways like we do sometimes. So we went and inspected their sanitary sewer to make sure they didn't have a collapse, which was causing the road to buckle or sink. And we also do that with the street department here. We will inspect storm sewers for the street department to see, where it's collapsed. There's been a couple times that we've had sewer breaks that had piping go through them or fiber from Western Iowa Networks. It'll cause a sink in the road. So we use it quite a bit. I mean, we've gotten over, in the 6 years I've been here with the areas that we've had, it breaks down about 2 or 3 times a year. Average cost of probably about $3,000 to repair, and then it gets shipped off to California. So it's a 2 to 3 month wait time. We're, Envirosite's out of Ankeny, so they're local. They also was where we got our backup from. But getting back to the inspections, that's how we determine on our bad spots throughout the community. We also use it for some local plumbers if they're trying to find a tap. So what we'll do is we'll run our camera up, find where the lateral is that goes to the house. We can mark that footage out so then they can actually dig and find out where they need to be. And we've done that quite a few times with local plumbers also.
So this thing has like a GPS tracker in it, or?
Actually, it's footage.
It's footage tracker. Okay.
Yeah, and the new one they all have a locator on them that we can call up, say Devin from the water plant. He can bring his locator over and find it in the sanitary sewer.
Well, it's good to know it's not just used for us. We're helping other communities.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, we were actually, when we helped Denison out, that was the defining moment on when they bought their own camera.
The one we have now works, correct?
Sometimes.
Well, I'm just asking if you considered keeping it rather than trading it off. In case this new one breaks, it has to be off, and we.
Well, no. The problem with the one we have now is we've had to dig it up 3 times, because when this system fails, we've dug it up. I've dug it up 3 times since I've been here in the 6 years we've used it. And when it fails, there's no release on the camera system, the tracker they call it. So we can't retrieve it. We actually physically have to dig it up and get it. And when it starts to break down 2 to 3 times out of the year, it's just very sketchy.
So every time you use it now, you're hoping that doesn't.
Yeah, when they had the backup up here at City Hall, they wanted us to bring the camera in, and I was pretty nervous about doing that.
So Sean, is that clutch reference there on the.
Yes, yeah, so the Envirosite, when it loses power, it releases the clutch, so it can be retrieved from the sanitary sewer. Another nice thing about the Envirosite, we have mapping of all of our system that the pipe diameters are measured and things like that. Well, we've dug before and the pipe diameter is not the same. So the program that Envirosite has that nobody else has, it will actually physically measure the inside with a laser, measure the inside diameter of the pipe. And then we can also tell if we have sags in the pipe because it can measure the water depth inside the pipe.
How small pipes can these go in?
I think this one can go as small as 6-inch. But, if, that we chose to get into lateral launching, you can mount a smaller, it's like a snake camera that can actually snake up into a lateral. But, we can see quite a ways, and it's really effective for root walls. So if we're jetting, what we've done is when the areas was working well, we would actually run the camera down to the jet ball or the root ball or the root curtain, and then we bring the cutter up, and then we just set the cutter right there on the root ball until it was completely gone, and then we just start moving down the line again.
One other question I had, that 71,000, does that reflect 13,000 hour trade-in, or is there a cost savings coming off that yet?
Oh, I'd have to look at the sheet again, but I'm thinking that's the 71,000 is with the 13,000, and then talking to McQueen, they called me to contact me that there's going to be an 8% increase as of 1st of August this year for that system.
So we just approve, we can purchase it tomorrow.
Yeah.
For the increase. Okay.
They have a pretty good warranty on these.
Yeah, I think there's a 1-year warranty. I'd have to go back and look through all the notes again.
But I think just the time savings alone, if it does break down, you're right here in the state versus shipping it to California. When you said 2 to 3 months,
Yeah,
that could eat up half your summer.
yeah, it was.
You don't get anything done.
Yeah, that was most of the winter here. Well, 2019, we didn't get anything done because it was in for repairs. And it's, like I said, $2,500 to $3,000 a shot just to get it repaired. And then it runs for, I suppose we probably get maybe 5,000 feet or 500 yards out of it, and it dies again. We've been lucky that before they even take it out now, they run it because either the camera will start to sag or the tractor won't even turn anymore.
Oh,
So,
sounds like time for a new one.
yeah.
So, are there any other questions for Sean or Mike? If not, I will look for a motion to waive the purchasing policy number 0501 and approve the purchase of an Envirosite pipe inspection camera system from McQueen Equipment at their proposed price of $71,580.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. There's no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Haley,
Yes.
Seaman. Yes. Bates. Yes. Cox.
Yes.
Fleshner.
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in, Mike. Appreciate your time out there. Hope you're having fun. Trust everyone's read the committee reports. I want to take the time to thank everybody that's out volunteering, helping the state baseball tournament. I think that was a great thing, and thanks to the staff, some staff that might be there tonight. And are there any comments from the city council?
Can I tag on to that,
Yeah, sure.
Mr. Mayor? It's beautiful to see the town decorated up. The signages look really nice throughout the city, as well as the flags
Good
are
point,
just
yeah.
beautiful.
Very good point. I did see that over the weekend. Any comments from the city manager?
None this evening. Thank you very much.
Well, have a good time, and we'll see you later in the week. All right.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and vote, please.
Cox.
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Bates. Yes. Fleshner.
Yes.
Seaman. Yes. Haley.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.